My name is Daniel Hymas, and I'm presenting the power of memory, how shared stories shape national identity. We usually think of memory as personal, but collective memory, what societies choose to remember, has a powerful influence on how nations define themselves. The way we remember the past shapes who we believe we are today. My research explores how those shared stories form national identity, and what happens when that memory is selective, distorted, or controlled. Sociologist Maurice Hallbach once said, "The past is not preserved, but constructed on the basis of the present." In other words, we don't remember history exactly as it happened. We reshape it based on what our society wants or needs to believe today. So memory is never neutral. It reflects current values, politics, and power. That leads to the big question I ask myself. Who decides what gets remembered and what gets left out? Hallbach argued that memory is a social process. It's shaped by the group. That becomes a problem when dominant groups control the narrative. They decide which voices matter and which are excluded. As Joan Norberg writes in False Nostalgia, we often remember only what comforts us. That kind of selective memory can be used politically to promote myths, ignore injustice, or exclude entire communities. This raises my central question: what kind of identity are we building when memory is incomplete? Two similar sources help shape my research. First, Johan Norberg's article "False Nostalgia" explains how societies romanticize the past. He says we remember things that comfort us and forget the rest. That really stood out to me. It made me realize how powerful and dangerous selective memory can be when it's used to promote myths or avoid accountability. Second, Julius Binney's oral narratives shows how the written story of New Zealand ignored Maori voices. Their stories of resistance survived only through oral traditions. That taught me that memory is political. It can raise people or empower them. These two sources led directly to my research question. This issue matters because collective memory isn't just about the past. It affects real people right now. In the U.S., the way we remember the Civil Rights Movement has shifted over time. For decades, we've focused on a few well-known figures like Dr. King, while ignoring the thousands of grassroots organizers who made the movement possible. In New Zealand, the generations of students learned history centered only on European settlers. In New Zealand, Maori experiences, especially those of resilience, were erased or distorted. Dan Parent says that textbooks don't just teach facts, they shape national identity. And political slogans like "Make America Great Again" rely on nostalgic memory that leaves out injustice. That's why this topic matters. When memory is distorted, so is our understanding of who we are and who we exclude. New Zealand's history offers a clear example of what happens when national memory is incomplete. For decades, the dominant narrative centered around European colonization. Maori stories of land loss, resistance, and cultural survival were excluded. Historian Judith Binney explained this best when she said, the written history of the Pakeha was not history of the Maori. This wasn't just about forgetting. It was about shaping an identity that made colonization seem justified. But things are beginning to change. New Zealand is now integrating Maori perspectives into school curricula and public institutions. It's a slow process, but it shows that national memory can evolve, and that change starts with inclusion. The U.S. is another example of how memory can be reclaimed. For years, the Civil Rights Movement was remembered as a top-down monument driven by famous leaders. But that memory ignored the organizing done by young people, local communities, and everyday citizens who risked their lives for change. Charles Paynes highlights how this distorted memory erased the real heart of the movement. Today, that's beginning to shift. The rise of movements like Black Lives Matter have pushed us to remember the fuller story. Activists are connecting past injustice to the present, demanding that national memory reflect reality, not just myth. This shows how collective memory can be rewritten and how doing so strengthens movements for injustice. So how do we begin to fix collective memory? The solution is to reclaim memory in ways that reflect all voices, not just those in power. That starts with education. Schools should teach multiple perspectives, especially those of historically marginalized groups. We also need representation in media and literature. When diverse stories are shared through books, film, and art, it broadens public memory. And public spaces like museums and memorials must reflect our full history, but not just the convenient parts. Memory should unite us through truth, not divide us with myths. An identity built on truth is far stronger than one based on nostalgia. This isn't just rhetorical. We have real-world examples of what happens when memory becomes more inclusive. In Germany, Holocaust memory is central to how the nation defines itself today. Memorials, education, and laws reflect a conscious choice to confront the past and move forward responsibly. In New Zealand, interrogating Maori history is slowly redefining what is meant to be Kiwi. It's changing what children grow up learning and how national pride is expressed. Literature plays a key role too. Chinua Achebe and Toni Morrison rewrote memory through storytelling, challenging the dominant historical record and giving voice to the silenced. These examples show that when collective memory includes everyone, national identity becomes more truthful, inclusive, and more resilient. Of course, there are challenges. Changing collective memory means challenging power, and that's not easy at all. Dominant groups often push back, fearing their version of history is being replaced. In some cases, they argue that inclusive memory is divisive or anti-patriotic. There's also political resistance to changing school curricula, museum exhibits, or media narratives. But here's the truth. Acknowledging injustice doesn't weaken a nation. It strengthens it. More memory doesn't mean less pride. It means deeper pride. Pride based on truth, complexity, and progress. And that's worth fighting for. So what if we do this right? If we reclaim memory, we build a national identity that more people feel proud of because they see themselves in it. We make better policies because they're grounded in full, not filtered history. And we reduce injustice by recognizing patterns and learning from them. Memory done right creates a future where unity isn't based on false past. It's based on shared truth. And that's how you build a nation that belongs to everyone. I'll close by returning to two key ideas. Joanne Oberg wrote, remember the two things that comfort us and forget the rest. And Maurice Hallwatch remind us that memory isn't preserved, it's reconstructed. If we keep reconstructing memories to comfort the powerful, we'll keep repeating injustice. But if we choose to remember fully to tell the whole story, we can rewrite national identity into something that's more honest and more inclusive. That's the real power of memory. That's the story we need to start telling together. These are the sources that inform my research, including the two texts from the AP seminar stimulus packet, Joanne Oberg's False Nostalgia, and Jules Binney Maori Oral Narratives.